Hello everyone, I held off on making this video because I thought you're just gonna get a lot of hate for it, but then I thought, well, might as well just push through and say what I think because what is this channel if I can't do that? But yes, as the title and the thumbnail suggest, you're talking to a person who is less than thrilled with the Superman movie, and whether you like it or not, I'm going to share my thoughts on that and why I am just not seeing this winning me over, and why I do not think that it is going to be the slam dunk of the summer that people, Superman fans specifically, think it is going to be, and why I think we are staring down the barrel of maybe the break of the superhero genre. Whether I am correct or incorrect, that is just where I stand right now. But no, I do not like this Superman trailer that came out recently. I haven't liked really anything that I've seen from it. In fact, my fears about it, if I could, maybe think that before, maybe think you're going too hard, you're reaching, my fears on this movie just keep getting validated even further. So let's get into it, but I want to talk first of all about Superman fans. Now, I know for years it was popular to say that the worst fan base on the internet was the Snyder cult. There was a reason why we called it the Snyder cult. The Zack Snyder worshippers who wanted the Snyder cut of Justice League, and how aggressive they were and how loud they were despite being mostly a minority to most people who didn't care for the Snyder universe. And I agree, the Snyder cult was crazy and I did not like Snyder's films at all. But the more I've seen of this fan base, the more I've realized I'm going to criticize. I think a lot of that behavior just comes from Superman fans in general. I am not saying all Superman fans. I am not saying all Superman fans are like this. There are Superman fans who follow me still, even with my takes on it. I'm not saying that everyone is like this, but I've just noticed this with the fan base around this movie, a certain vocal amount of that fan base that I'm not talking about myself here. I'm talking about when I see anyone criticize Superman, James Gunn's Superman, anything about it, they didn't think something that was said by Superman was in character, or they didn't care for some of the shots, or they thought that something just seemed kind of off about how this trailer is being made, or how the movie is going. Anytime somebody brings up any questions or concerns about this movie, or even goes as far to just say they're not hyped about it, I've seen it across the internet, they just get lambasted by fans of Superman and who just want to run them off of the internet. I saw a Twitter argument this morning from Superman fans where they just wanted to run off any dissenters off of the internet. Now, I can agree that there are Zack Snyder fans out there who are just as bad. Who are against this movie, who seem like they do really want to nitpick and just do everything they can to tear down this film. Not condoning that either, but I'm just saying that there is a certain just craziness around this film from Superman fans who are just so passionate that it seems that they can't accept anyone even just saying that I'm not hyped for this and I don't think it looks good. And I don't think that that is going to help the film. It certainly does not endear me and make me want to change my mind. Under my other Superman videos, I was just called a liar by people, saying that I am completely making up my opinion for clicks, which is ironic because, what if I changed my opinion to agree with you and agree with what seemed to be the popular opinion on the internet from these guys? I would be a grifter and a liar then, but I'm not. I'm going to stay with my opinion, even if it is not the popular one. But like I said, it just gets crazy. Like for me on here, I think it's crazy. Like it's fine if I criticize Marvel and Disney and all this stuff, but if I cross the line and criticize Superman, then all of a sudden it's a problem that I'm just too negative or something. Like, guys, this is my honest opinion, whether you like it or not, and that's just how real life works. You're going to have people with different opinions. But anyway, the reason why I'm bringing up the craziness and the fanaticalness of the Superman fanbase is for something I'm going to talk about at the end of this video. There is a lot of hype for this movie that is being drummed up by just how vocal and out there Superman fans are. And I don't, once again, it's not just Snyder fans, it's Superman fans who are this passionate about the character and who do not want to hear criticism for it. But anyway, I want to talk about now why, with the Superman marketing material that is out there, why I'm just not excited for this film. Number one, Superman himself. Now, I could have maybe I could have been shifted from my original opinion about how Superman was turning out as a character and how Clark Kent was behaving. My big controversy is I was worried that he was going to become a man-child a la Star-Lord and the other James Gunn's characters. And like I said, maybe I could have been swayed away from that. But then we see this trailer.
Hey! Quit messing around!
I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff.
And it's more of the same, and it's more of that vibe, a very childish vibe for Superman. And, as I know a million straw man arguments will come across, I am not saying that Superman can't have a personality or that he can't have a sense of humor like he is supposed to, but Superman has a certain kind of sense of humor, and he has a certain kind of personality, and childishness is not really what I would attribute it to necessarily, but I am just seeing that consistently with every single clip that we see of James Gunn's Superman, and I'm not endeared by that. It feels more like James Gunn, who I need to remind people originally said why he turned down Superman was because he wasn't interested in the character. It feels like James Gunn molding Superman to be more to James Gunn's taste. And I don't vibe with that. And so I'm just not excited for this Clark Kent or Superman so far. It seems like even if it's not necessarily bad on its own, it's just not what I'm looking forward to seeing in the character. It seems like it's just going to be another Superman of all time, you know? It's not going to be like the definitive version or anything, and even though I didn't like what Zack Snyder was doing, I'm not on board with that, and it just goes back to my original opinion that James Gunn was the wrong choice for this movie. Other things that I am not vibing with in regards to the new footage that we're getting and everything that we're seeing, Lex Luthor. Now, I had no problem before with what we were seeing with Lex Luthor, and I like Nicholas Hoult as an actor, but then we heard him in that trailer, and he's got a very high-pitched voice.
The most powerful being on planet Earth.
We finally meet.
Now, as planned, I'll destroy you.
And he just did not sound intimidating to me at all. And listen, he's not on the level of Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, but I was just thinking about how Jesse Eisenberg had that higher pitched voice that you wouldn't expect for a Lex Luthor. Like, Lex Luthor should either be deep voiced and intimidating or maybe more pompous like Gene Hackman. This seemed a bit more boyish, like a bit more of a boyish voice coming out of him. Not even Michael Rosenbaum, when he played Superman in he didn't play Superman. When he played Lex Luthor in Smallville, he had a very intimidating persona, and that was not what I was getting from this big Lex Luthor voice reveal, so that's another knock against it. Now, if I'm going to say something positive, I think that, surprisingly, Jimmy Olsen's the best thing I've seen so far. Jimmy Olsen is dead on casting and personality from everything that I've seen. But going through to the rest of the trailer, it's like there are certain things where, like, okay, Superman defeating everyone with his heat vision, that looks pretty cool. But then there will be something like Superman knocking someone's teeth out. And I'm not here arguing about whether Superman would or wouldn't do that. That's not my point here. My problem is, I don't like that visual. That's more James Gunn's taste. Like, okay, let's really zoom in. Let's show how gross it is. The guy's getting his teeth knocked out. And, like, that just does not fit with the vibe that I would want for this film. I'm just not on board with that. And it's just similar to the entire thing. There's just something about it that's just not hitting. It just feels like you got the wrong director for the wrong project. Like, this just is not a match. And you're seeing, like, their crossover. Like, James Gunn's style should not cross over with Superman, but they're trying to mesh, and it just does not work. Now, there was a bit of marketing for this that I did like, and it was with Superman and Lois in a phone booth, and they're like being cute together, and I could sense the chemistry, and I'm like, oh, where was this? Where haven't I seen this before in the marketing? But then it's hilarious because the camera slowly pans away to a guy reading a newspaper, and it's James Gunn, because he has to be involved with every little piece of marketing. It was like this: Superman and Lois are being cute and romantic, and then James Gunn. It was so hilarious and awkward. And guys, before you say, oh, he's the director, doesn't he have the right to be in the movie? Like, they did similar photo shoots for Entertainment Weekly with Zoe Kravitz and Robert Pattinson and Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya for The Batman and Dune Part 2. They did not have their directors stick their faces in them. Like, can you imagine if you're doing like this hot chemistry-filled photo shoot with Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz and then Matt Reeves plastered his face in there? That was what it felt like. So I'm just not vibing with this Superman trailer. Everything that has come out has left me feeling or meh. And then later on, I'll just think about it and just kind of think about the reasons why I'm not really gelling with it. But here's the ultimate thing. Now, I think that it would have been possible to get me on board with this movie with a different director because of that little bit that we saw with Lois and Clark in the phone booth. I was endeared by that. It would have been possible, I think. But ultimately, I think that I'm just bored with superhero movies. It's like, I'm not Marvel specifically, because that is a universe that I'm a fan of. But in terms of the superhero genre, I'm so tired. Like, I could talk about Marvel all day long, but I'm talking about the broad superhero genre, the feeling of needing to see every superhero movie. I'm just so tired. It doesn't feel like a special event so much anymore because there's been so many of them. And I think that that is the way that a lot of people are feeling. Now, this is where we get back to the Superman fan base and just the gatekeeping around this movie and how they need everyone to love it and they need it to be a huge success. We've gotten some box office tracking information, and I'm not going to do a video on this until the trades come out with their solid numbers, but it's been crazy to watch because there's been multiple sources that have a good track record like this, like the Flat Lannister and Empire City on Twitter, who say that while Superman pre-sales are good, they're not blowing it out of the park. They're not spectacular. And I can even say from my own experiences, like they did those Amazon pre-screenings and I checked the screens near me, they weren't sold out at all. And hours later, they still weren't, they were just half full. Like, this movie is being a little bit more middling than people would like to think. I'm not saying that it's going to bomb, but it just doesn't seem like it is going to be the billion-dollar spectacular hit that the fans want it to be. But on other cases, like, we see Box Office Theory, and they've been putting crazy projections for these movies that are not adding up with what anyone else is saying. And the one guy from Box Office Theory, there's clearly a bias there because he said that Superman and Fantastic Four were doing similar in pre-sales, but he made it out like Superman is going to be the one that gets near 200 million domestic opening. And like, that is not going to happen. I think you need to accept that there's just some people out there that are burnt out on this stuff and it's not exciting anymore. And it's okay if people aren't excited and that maybe James Gunn's Superman wasn't for anyone, or even if they got a different director, if maybe we just aren't ready for a Superman film like Ron. I love X-Men. I can agree. Like, my dream is to see a well-done, comic-accurate X-Men film on screen. But I can agree this is not the right time for that because audiences are just burnt out. And I think that come this July, we might be seeing that. We might be seeing a burnout that we haven't seen before when it comes to these superhero films. But yeah, that's just how I feel with James Gunn's Superman, and it's just not vibing with me. And I know that it isn't for other people, but we get screamed off the internet and told that we're liars if we have a different opinion. And that's not gonna change anybody. If somebody is not excited for Superman and you are coming up to them and saying that they're a liar for expressing their opinion, do you think that's gonna make them go see it? Do you think that's gonna make them tell other people to go see it? No. The toxicity around this is not gonna help the film. It just makes it even worse. But so yeah, I'm not lying about my opinion on Superman here. I just don't think it actually looks good. I mean, look at this. Look at this at the end. This looks ridiculous. Look, what is this? Well, what is this? They decided, oh, okay, we're going to make Superman look like a bendy toy and put his fists in the screen first, and the CGI looks like rubber. If Marvel had done this, they would never hear the end of it. This is the worst CGI. I think it is worse than the CGI in the Black Widow movie, and that is saying something. It looks hilariously awful, and this is the sequence that they decided to use to tell people to go get tickets. It looks bad, and it's okay to say that. We can say it about Marvel. You should be allowed to say it about DC too with their bad CGI, and this movie is just shot so awkwardly with so many wide angles and so many weird camera angle choices like that. I'm not a fan of Zack Snyder, but I can at least admit he had better cinematography than this. That is all I got for you guys today, though. This Superman shot just looks so ridiculous, and I can finally get out there and say it. Yes, this Superman shot looks ridiculous. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for watching this video. If you don't hate me already, if you are excited for James Gunn's Superman, more power to you, but I just am not. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you, patrons and members, as always, and I'll see you guys next time.